What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering with some breaking news. It would appear, or earlier this morning, it broke a huge a defeat for Jordan Peterson and for free speech. And it's probably one of the more important things I cover on this channel. So if you're enjoying the coverage, if you agree, it's important that we need to protect free speech, especially online. Please leave a like on the video. And if you haven't yet, subscribe or follow down below. It helps an absolute ton. To help the various platforms know somebody wants to watch my videos. Now, this article says Jordan Peterson capitulates to the woke mob. I don't know if I agree with the headline. Canadian professor loses battle with psychology college over mandatory social media training. Jordan Peterson has lost his last attempt to prevent the College of Psychologists of Ontario from mandating he undergo remedial social media training. He is being forced to go into a re-education camp, literally, over his social media posts. A court decided that we're going to uphold this. It's insane to me. This is 1984 for real. And a lot of people can say, oh, it's in Canada. Yeah, so? Oh, it was in the remember the UK a few years ago? I was over in the UK. Then it's in Canada. Now, of course, it's here in this country. Look at all the stuff we see with these Ivy League colleges run by people who forged, faked, lied their ways to their positions, and now they're forcing things like diversity, equity, and inclusion on students. On Tuesday, a 3-judge panel with Ontario Court of Appeals dismissed the famous professor's appeal of an earlier court decision, one that ordered he undergo the training, re-education. The clinical psychologist wrote on X Tuesday that he had been given no choice but to capitulate to the petty bureaucrats and addle-padded woke mob or risk losing his license to practice. Now, does Jordan Peterson need his license anymore? Of course not. I highly doubt he does anything in psychology anymore when he could write a 200-page book and sell 10 million copies. He's got a big fat contract with the Daily Wire. He could go on a speaking tour and make millions and has done so. I think it's about the principle of it, and it's something I agree with him on. I've been critical of Jordan Peterson in the past, saying he spends too much time on X and then he gets his feelings hurt. I stand by that, of course. He gets, his calls for the removal of online anonymity. I disagree with, but the world is nuanced and you can disagree with somebody. I've had my spats with guys like Matt Walsh. That doesn't mean I don't agree with a lot of the things he says too. The internet tries to make everything binary, but that's not the way things really work. He writes, "Mark my words, however, the way has barely started. There's nothing you can take from me that I'm unwilling to lose," Peterson wrote on X after the ruling. Throughout 2022, the college, which is the governing body of psychologists who practice in Ontario, reportedly received a number of complaints about Jordan Peterson's tweets. His tweets. Some of his more recent hits that have generated controversial online discourse included a critical statement he made about an overweight Sports Illustrated model, Yumi Nu, who said she was not beautiful. His tweet was more about, getting away from this healthy at all sizes thing. I don't think, some people like them big, all right? Hopefully my wife enjoys them big too. I think that, the concept of beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but that's not what he was really talking about. He was talking about, this is woke Sports Illustrated. It's like putting somebody on there who has the zipper chest, and calling it bold or beautiful. He then came in hot when he said actor Elliot Page, formerly Ellen Page, had her chest removed by a criminal physician as part of her gender reassignment process, which I agree with. Some complaints were also directed towards his views on climate and the aggressive treatment of some members of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government. To be clear, when he's being forced to be re-educated because he criticized the government. In August, Ontario's Divisional Court ruled that the college was allowed to mandate Peterson undergo social media training. I am assuming they didn't even have an actual program for that at the time. This stuff is coming here to America. It exists in America at corporations, at companies. I just had somebody this morning tweet at me, tag me in a tweet, and complain about one of my writers at the Publica, essentially tattling on them to try and get me to fire them. A less, and that stuff works. Not at my company. I support my employees even when they say things I disagree with. By the way, you should be reading thepublica.com every day. Put it in your bookmark list. We do a lot of real, actual investigative journalism there, a lot of debunking, a lot of, really helpful stuff. And I'm really proud of my team there. It's not entirely clear what the content of the social media training will actually include, which I believe Jordan Peterson said that he would record it and release it. I suspect they're not going to let him. Peterson, a professor emeritus of psychology at the University of Toronto, refused to undergo the training and asked that courts review whether the college had the authority to even require it. He argued his speech was political and occurred outside the realm of his duties at the college and outside the purview of authority. In August, the divisional court said that Peterson is a member of a regulated profession, and as such, he has assumed obligations and must abide by the rules of the regulatory body that may limit their freedom of expression. Well, we can all know if Jordan Peterson was, telling everyone to eat bugs, live in a pod, and own nothing, he wouldn't be having to go through this re-education. We know that if he was even speaking out aggressively against conservatives, maybe even using, aggressive language, he wouldn't be undergoing this re-education. Quote, the order is not disciplinary, nor does it prevent Dr. Peterson from expressing himself on controversial topics. Yes, it does. Its entire existence is there explicitly to do that. It is there explicitly to deter people from stepping out of line and sharing an opinion that is counter to the standard narrative, the approved narrative. On Tuesday, in his Tuesday X post following the defeat, Peterson wrote, congratulations, CPO Ontario. You won this round. Mark my words, however, the way is barely started. There's nothing you can take from me. I'm unwilling to lose, so watch out. Seriously, you've been warned. Howard Levitt, the attorney who represented Peterson, says he believes the results of the case will give license to regulatory bodies to be more aggressive, and I agree with him. He added that they are unable to appeal the case any further. It's unclear when the remedial training will happen, how long it will take, or exactly what the program entails. My guess is, again, probably because it doesn't exist. Is there free speech in Canada? To what extent are the limits of free speech in Canada free speech, which is not criminal nor tortious, illegal or not a violation of the law? To what extent are the regulated professions and regulated trades impacted in terms of what they can and can't say in a public forum, said Levitt, according to the National Post. So they're basically saying he didn't, he didn't break the law. He has, freedom of speech. Of course, the court documents all exist out there. And, this is the same day that he goes after, Joe Biden. I don't know if Jordan Peterson even still lives in Canada. I hope that he turns this legal battle into an opportunity to open a lot of eyes, because, it's going to do that. It's going to hopefully wake people up to, we're literally in 1984. I don't really know what else, there's no other way I can really describe it. Literal re-education camp. And it's wild. In a separate post around the same time, Tuesday evening, Peter said that Canadians are under the delusion that there is free speech in the country, but rest assured, sleeping Canuck sheep, your Charter of Rights is a facade, he wrote, and you will be fleeced while you bleat. I don't really think that doesn't apply here in the United States, too. When we have the FBI entrenched in social media, monitoring our speech, telling Twitter and other social media platforms to ban us, suppress us, violate our First Amendment rights. There should be, an Internet Bill of Rights. I think that these corporations, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube in particular, because it is my livelihood, at least currently, I'm still growing, by the way. We'll be talking more about this on my Rumble stream, which is at 1 Eastern today. If you go over to rumble.com, I'll probably be on the homepage. Or if you just search for my channel, look up the recording, I'll be live every day. That's obviously become an important thing that I invest my time and money into long term, because YouTube is not going to let us speak freely, in particular this year when we have the upcoming election. When you look at the political landscape, we just had a new update from Google and YouTube saying that, well, we've added another reason to demonetize people. And that reason was essentially, we don't want individuals sharing their opinions on breaking news. And we want CNN and Rachel Madcow and these people to be telling you what's exactly happening. The wildest thing about this like authoritative voices stuff we see is, Rachel Maddow, people at CNN, people at Fox News have been wrong numerous times, and it's been documented. So why aren't we allowed to be wrong? Anyway, I digress. This is going to be, this is a 2-year legal battle. And, what was wild is the actual complaints against him were insane. The actual, the first complaint of 2022 came in January 5th. Peterson has suggested that a world population of 9.5 billion was sustainable. A commenter on his post said that overpopulation was a threat to the ecosystem, to which he replied, "You're free to leave at any point." I guess an educated way to tell somebody to off themselves. I mean, is that really a big deal? The second complaint was interim Ottawa police chief says he's working with social services and Freedom Convoy protesters to have children removed from the area prior to any sort of police action. Quote, children removed, how exactly, why exactly, by whom exactly, sent where? So he spoke out for the Freedom Convoy in Canada. He says some things on Joe Rogan. He called somebody a prick. Big deal. He called somebody a prick, and they're trying to take his license away and force him into re-education. This stuff is insane. Obviously, Jordan has my full support. He certainly doesn't need my money, but he has my full support in this legal, I guess in exposing all this. This is a brutal hit to free speech, and it's only going to embolden more people to infringe on more rights. I hope you were informed by this video. If you were, please do leave a like on it. If you made it to the end, please come on over to my Rumble stream. I'm live at 1 Eastern till 3 Eastern. I'd love to see you there, and we'll talk to you again real soon.